Right, take two. Welcome back, everyone. Apologies for that, for anyone who was on the last live stream link. We had a few technical issues. We've got them sorted. I'm here with Julian. Not a little fist bump. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. How are you? How have you been?
I'm very well. Yeah. Very well. It's been a long time no see in front of a camera.
Yeah. When was the last time you were on AFTV?
Last time was Everton.
Oh, wow.
Looking at the positives, a massive victory for the Arsenal. Nothing more we need to say about that particular day.
Okay, fair enough. I don't even want to touch on anything else that might have happened that day. Arsenal did win that.
Yeah, they did. Quite well.
Yeah, they played okay. No, they did play well. They did play well. Let's not be... Yeah. Let's talk about... I mean, you said you've been away.
Yep, I was away for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I made a conscious effort not to keep up with all the rumours.
Yeah, you were saying. Just kept your mind cleansed of Arsenal.
Cleansed, a little cleansing.
Yeah, well, listen, it's
a few
needed.
Weeks. Yeah, but then as soon as I'm back, what do? Tune into AFTV.
Thank you.
And see you and Robbie. You were calm, collected, methodical, rational, put together some very good arguments.
Well, thank you.
I think
appreciate it.
Robbie was completely hysterical. It was just after...
I didn't agree with Robbie, but hysterical's a bit... No?
I mean, I thought so. When you look at the facts, and I always like to look at the facts,
Okay.
the transfer window had opened on June the 10th. It was only a few days, maybe 4 or 5 days into the transfer window, and he was getting most irate, and he wasn't the only one, that we'd missed out on one particular player that, okay, he's probably a player that we could have utilised, but we were 4 or 5 days into the transfer window.
So this is the Basuma transfer, obviously going to Spurs.
Yeah.
We had a really good debate, me and Robbie, that day. I saw his point, he saw mine, but we ultimately did, sit on different sides of the fence with that. I'm sure he's going to want to get you on AFTV at some point too. I'm sure you guys will debate a few things yourselves, but you weren't particularly stressed at the time when Basuma confirmed his move to Spurs.
I'm not going to get stressed after 4 or 5 days.
Sure.
It goes on till September the 1st, and I'll always judge it at the end. And I know there is this, and I kind of understand this part, that people want to get players in as early as possible, because the earlier we get them in, the quicker we can integrate them into the team.
Yeah.
Once we've integrated them into the team, hopefully we can start the season in a way that we didn't start last season.
Yeah.
And start winning, because the players are bedded in. However, as I said last season, I'm not judging Arsenal by the first few games of the season.
Yeah.
When we look for these players coming in, I'm looking at long term.
Yeah.
So a couple of games, yes, we'd far rather win than lose them. But the players that are coming in, I think it's absolutely fundamental that we're looking at these players over the long term rather than just for a couple of games to kick on. And if we can't get the right players in early, then we'll have to wait for the bargains to come up with a few days to go.
Yeah. Well, look, I get it. I want Arsenal to do their business quickly. I want them to be ready for the start of the season. It's been a long time since we have been ready. One of the players that we have been linked with is Raphinha, and now some semi-breaking news. I mean, it's been doing the rounds for the last hour or so, is that Raphinha, who is a player that Arsenal really seriously targeted. I mean, apparently a bid's gone in, was pushed back. Lots of talk of a second bid going in. Now Chelsea are in the mix for Raphinha as well. I think he's a really talented player. I mean, I think he could go a long, long way. But there was always this fear that, if Tottenham stumped up the cash, or if Chelsea came in, or if Barcelona found the money from somewhere, that maybe his preferred destination wasn't Arsenal, that others might be able to offer Champions League football and other things. And now it looks like Chelsea have come in for him. I guess before I discuss and give my thoughts, how did you feel about the Raphinha links?
I think they're absolutely positive. Leeds last season were a poor team. He stood out when you look at the goals that he scored, and he's not a centre forward, he's coming in from the wings. It was very impressive. I think he's got a similar goal scoring record to Jesus. So it's impressive in a very, very poor Leeds team. And I think if Leeds do sell him, they must be favourites for relegation this season.
I mean, you'd think
that's a
though,
big call for Leeds to sell one of their top players.
but they would be getting that money in plus the Phillips money in, so it's 100 million on top of whatever they're being backed. They're being backed with anyway. You'd think they'd be able to rebuild and maybe start a kind of new cycle under their new manager.
It would be a risk.
It would be a risk.
I mean,
yeah.
you've seen what happened to Tottenham a few years ago with the Bow money. They brought in a lot of players. They spent pretty much all that money, and the only player I can remember that actually made it for them was Eriksen.
Yeah.
So for them, they'd have been better off keeping Bow from a footballing perspective. So yes, they'll have a lot of money in the bank. Yes, they'll be able to bring players in. But what they've got, Leeds, is a player that's very effective and also integrated into their team.
See, my thing with this, with Raphinha, Chelsea coming in, it really worries me because I think if Chelsea are serious and they're willing to put up the money, I think he goes there. I mean, why wouldn't he? He'd have Champions League football. He'd almost definitely start. I think there's a position for him out there on the right. I think Chelsea need that signing that shows that under the new ownership they're still willing to flex their muscles and spend money and go big. I think there's something as well in beating your London rivals to a player. I wonder if that's something that might, spark Chelsea into action. But where it gets interesting is that they're still closing on Raheem Sterling, so that could happen. So they'd be adding two wingers. I know Ziyech is on his way out, but they've still got Callum Hudson-Odoi, Mount plays in wide areas, Timo Werner. They've lost Lukaku. I mean, they're clearly trying to replenish their front line. But it feels to me if they come in for Raphinha, and it is serious, and we're yet to kind of see how serious it is, even though a lot of reputable sources are claiming that they are really considering him. I really fear for us picking up a player who I know Saka and Martinez, Smith Rowe got all these great young players, but I still think we need a Raphinha because he's kind of proven quality in the Premier League and adds more to our attack, adds more unpredictability. Are you worried about us getting, stumped by Chelsea here?
It wasn't a name and it wasn't a position that I was really that fussed about before the transfer window became open and all the rumours came. Now we're linked to him, then I would very much like to see him at Arsenal. I think he can definitely bolster our team. He can definitely add to squad depth, and in some respects I think he's better than Saka. So
I agree.
So he could improve and he could push Saka to improve as well. I mean, up to now, Saka's had Pepe as competition. Now, Pepe may have come in with a big reputation, but over the years his reputation has diminished.
Yeah.
And Saka's not being pushed. He's also being overplayed. He was looking very tired and ineffective towards the end of last season. Not every game he's the integral player. He can be in and out of games. So even to have Raphinha come off the bench, or even Saka to come off the bench, I think that would be really good. So am I concerned? Now that we've been linked to him, I'm really excited. I think it'd be a brilliant signing. Let's look at why would he go to Chelsea. Footballers, I think we almost misjudge footballers that they have their heart set on particular clubs. A lot of footballers, they start playing football from a very early age. I never got to that stage of playing football for a professional team. So I've always been affiliated to Arsenal. Arsenal are my team, but a lot of the players, they may have been, when they're tiny little boys, they had an Arsenal shirt or they had a Barcelona shirt, but from very early ages, sort of 8, 9, 10 years old, they're now picked up by their teams. Those kind of club amateur affiliations go out the window. What motivates these players, and they're directed very much by their agents, and number one, and I hate to say this, but it's what they're going to get out of it financially.
Right.
And if Chelsea outbid us, and if Chelsea offer a bigger salary, then he'll probably will go. The other opportunity for them is will he come in and play? Will he be an integral part of that team? Because if he is, then you get the sponsorship deals. You then get international recognition. Because if you're in the reserves and you're just a bit part player, your career kind of dwindles. But
if you're Raphinha, are you not thinking, sure, okay, the financial package, but whatever happens, he'd be well paid wherever he goes. So is it not a case of also, Chelsea, he might want to play under Tuchel, he might want to play for a club that's got a very, very rich recent history in terms of trophy wins, and I can see where he'd play week in, week out for Chelsea. So I don't think there's any concerns about the World Cup. I mean, I think if Chelsea came in really seriously for Raphinha, I think we would need to worry personally.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. I think if Chelsea come in and they're serious, I'm not sure what Chelsea's financial situation is at the moment. I mean, we've known what Chelsea's financial situation has been for the last decade or so with Abramovich, but those days have changed. I don't know much about the new Chelsea ownership, do you?
No, I don't know a lot. I know that they're doing a real clear out at the moment, and that is very much the owner and Tuchel working together on signings. Petr Cech left, Marina left. So there is a bit of a reshuffle going on. So to be juggling so many big deals when you've got Raheem Sterling, looks like he is going to go to Chelsea, when you've got the fact they want De Ligt, Nathan Ake has been talked about. Would they want a striker as well? You'd think so. So Raphinha, listen, Arsenal are spending a lot of money, so it's not out of the realms of possibility that they are looking to bring all of them in Chelsea. But that's what surprised me about the Raphinha thing, is that they've got Sterling. So unless they're working on both and they want to sort of add one on each side, that would make Chelsea really dangerous. But it's an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on it. We've got some super chats. Anthony says all or nothing Man United would have been more entertaining. We're going to talk about the All or Nothing documentary in a little bit. Louise says this is a great duo. Thank you, Louise. Appreciate it. Owen saying that Raphinha is going to go to Chelsea, lads. Super says Sterling to Arsenal. Bet on it. Imagine that. Imagine they got Raphinha and then we ended up getting Raheem Sterling. Got another super chat from Alpha, says love the content, James, Colney Gunners. Thank you, Alpha, appreciate it a lot. And Sam says I feel Arsenal can Kondogbia type player in midfield. So he's talking about players that he'd like to see us linked with and bringing in to the Emirates. Speaking of, there is one that is on the brink, and that's Gabriel Jesus.
Mr. Jesus.
Yeah, fair play to the journalist who rocked up at Colney today and managed to hide somewhere and get some good pictures of Jesus. Probably photographer now I say it. Pictures of Jesus and Edu embracing as he was off to do his medical, media duties, all that. This is a player I'm very excited about. I don't think he solves all our problems, but I think he's a massive upgrade up front for what we've had for the last year or two in terms of performances. And he can play across the front three, and he's a Premier League winner. Yeah, what's your kind of reaction to this signing?
I think in some ways we're underestimating the importance of him, of how we've actually secured this transfer. The thing is, we've been talking about it for so long. I remember it first came up in starting 11 before the Everton game. So when was that? Sort of mid-May?
That must have been end of May. Yeah, mid to end of May.
Mid-May.
25th or something.
So we've been talking about this as almost a nailed-on transfer, or at least very, very strong links to him for about a month. So the fact we've now got him, we're kind of, all right, it was expected. It's no big shock. It's not like the Vieira signing we made a week or so ago. This has been expected. So we're diminishing actually the importance of what Arteta's done here. What he's done, he's brought in a proven international, a guy that's got multiple trophies, including league championships. He's played a fair amount of games. All right, he wasn't a nailed-on starter, but he was playing for, and I begrudgingly say this, the best team over the last decade in English football, in the English Premiership.
Yeah.
And he's done phenomenally well. He's also at an age that you'd think that he's now reaching his peak. So the fact that Arteta's managed to bring him in, okay, he had 1 year left, so there was a deal to be done. We haven't got him at nothing. We've paid 45 million for him, which is still quite a lot of money for a player of that ilk. But one thing about strikers is that they are a very, very scarce commodity.
Yeah.
And what I'm really happy about, and people have criticised Arteta and Arsenal for this in January, is they didn't make a knee-jerk signing.
Sure.
They had their target, which was Vlahovic, I can never pronounce it. Vlahovic,
yeah.
And they didn't get him. But what they didn't do was just pacify the fans to bring in an Isaac at ridiculous money for what it was worth. What they did, they bided their time. Okay, we did miss out by a couple of points. And we could have, if we'd had a striker, potentially got that Champions League spot, but that's ifs and maybes. But I'm pretty certain if we'd gone for our second options or a player we didn't really want, we'd have been in a similar situation as we have been with the kind of contracts we've given players previously. We've been lumbered with dead wood. What they did, they took a gamble. It very, very nearly paid off.
Sure.
And now they've got the player that they want, and it fits the system.
Well, Mustafi's marketing agent has sent in a super chat, and he seems to agree with you. He says, fans were complaining about how we didn't replace Aubameyang in January. If we got Vlahovic then, we wouldn't be getting Jesus now. Potential top four and Vlahovic, or Europa and Jesus. Also, who is better? With Vlahovic, there was that potential. I mean, he was scoring goals for Fiorentina. There was that potential he'd be the next Lewandowski, and for the next 10 years be scoring goal after goal after goal. With Jesus, I get, he's a very, very good player now who might get better, but has been doing it in the Premier League for a few years now. Not necessarily scoring 20 to 30 goals a season, but contributing to a very, very good side and doing it in the league. I don't want to dwell on it too much. I still think January was a missed opportunity, because it wasn't just for me about signing a striker. It was at least use the window to strengthen, and it was about letting Maitland-Niles go, and we still needed that use in midfield for a couple crucial games. We went in, short-handed. It was the fact that we chased Arthur on loan as well, and we didn't get any central midfielders, and when we had to call upon Lokonga, we suddenly decided actually he wasn't ready yet. So we can go into January and all that, but I think ultimately it wasn't just about not getting a striker. I can look past that, but it was that we didn't strengthen at all, and then significantly weakened ourselves in terms of squad depth. Jesus, you think he'll be starting as our number 9 up front? I mean, I know he played on the right last year for City, but do you see him sort of playing where Nketiah basically played the last couple of months?
Yeah, I do. But I also see, and I'm happy, the fact that Eddie signed a new contract.
Yeah.
And that he's going to push. Because one thing Eddie said was that he wanted to be given an opportunity.
Yeah.
When he got given the opportunity, he wasn't prolific, but he was better than what we had before. He was a step up to Lacazette.
Yeah, I would agree with that largely, yeah.
And the other thing about Eddie is he's still young, he's still learning, and I think what the end of the season would have given him would be the confidence to kick on. So I think Eddie will give him quite a good run, and Eddie will get game time. I mean, we've obviously got the Europa League now coming, so we're going to have extra games with the 5 substitutes. I think we're going to see a lot more of Eddie this season than we did last.
This poll that we've got going is really split down the middle, or 3 ways, because you've got, so the question was, does the Jesus signing guarantee top 4 for Arsenal? 32% have said yes, 31% have said no, and 37% have said need more signings. I mean, essentially, if we need more signings, then the answer is no. So
yeah.
I think everyone basically feels that we still need to do more. I feel we need to do more. But it's not just doing more in terms of get more players in for the sake of getting more players in. It's, for example, we've been linked to Lisandro Martinez. We're making a second bid. I'm really excited about that. But that, for me, doesn't then guarantee us top 4. Whereas players like Tielemans and Raphinha come in, and I think add more creativity. That helps Jesus. That gets the best out of our forward players. And then you might start to see Jesus, get those chances that he needs, and rack up that goal tally, and Arsenal start to look like a side that belong in the Champions League. It's about addressing those key areas, and Tielemans being one of them for me.
Yeah, I mean, taking that poll literally, the wording, nothing's going to guarantee top 4.
Well, exactly.
But maybe the wording should be slightly amended as the probability of getting top 4. The other part of getting top 4 is we're competing with the other teams. So what are the other teams doing? One thing I've always said is that the quality of the Premier League and the quality of the teams at the top is much higher now than any other time that I've ever been watching football.
Yeah.
So we are competing with Manchester City.
Yeah.
We are competing with Liverpool.
Yeah.
We are competing with Man United, Chelsea, and that other team down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Who got slightly lucky towards the end of last season.
Oh, well.
Bad refereeing. Not that I'm bitter and twisted.
His words, not mine. Benny in the Super Chat says, how many goals will Jesus score? Oh, I read that out. Did I read that out? I didn't read that.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Well, if you did, I've forgotten it.
Or I read it in my head.
Yeah.
This is a shambles of a show,
Yeah.
isn't it? Anthony with the Super Chat as well. Well, how many goals do you think Jesus will get realistically next year?
I think I'll get 15 to 20.
15 to 20 in all comps or in the league?
I don't think it'll be played in the Europa League.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be played in the early rounds of the FA Cup, and I'm pretty certain we won't see him in the League Cup. So the majority will be in the Premier League.
Anthony says right wing, left wing starters. You've got Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, or Raphinha. Raphinha is nowhere near Martinelli and Saka. Anthony, and I'm an Arsenal fan, and I know I could be talking about a future Chelsea player here, but I'll be honest. Raphinha starts for Arsenal. Raphinha starts and is an upgrade. Now, not because I don't rate Saka, Smith Rowe and Martinelli. I love them. I think they're fantastic. I think they're going to go on to become top players. But my issue is, it's not an issue with them. They're very young. They play a lot of football. They've had a lot of responsibility on them at such a young age. I want them to just enjoy their football, relax, come in and express themselves amongst an experienced core that is expected to get them over the line. The likes of Jesus, Tielemans, Raphinha, those kind of players are the ones that I want to be relying on going into next season if we get them. And then I want the likes of Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe to just be enjoying their football around them. I think that's how you get the best out of them. And Raphinha is currently, if he arrived, Raphinha would currently be our best winger, I think. Now, Martinelli and Saka can get to that level, and on days have been at that level, but have also gone through lulls here and there. That's fine because they're young and they're brilliant. But Raphinha, for me, he starts for us.
Yeah, I've looked at Saka.
Yeah.
Saka's obviously got great potential.
I think they're all different, by the way.
And he's put in some fantastic performances. But I wasn't overly impressed by Saka's consistency last season, especially towards the end. He looked tired.
Yeah.
Almost every game he was coming off with what looked like an injury, and then he'd miraculously be back for the next game.
But whose fault is that?
He was being overplayed.
Exactly, yeah. I would say so.
Or he's just not ready to be played every single game. But the other thing that I'm concerned about is that they're so in for Raphinha in a position that none of us were really expecting us to go for that kind of player in that position. Is could Saka be on his way? And they're getting the replacement in before.
Yeah, Graham actually, I hope you don't mind me saying this, he sent me a message wondering that as well. I think at least for a year we don't have to worry about that. Whether Saka...
He's got 2 years left on his contract?
He's got 2 years left on his contract. I don't think we'll be worrying about that this summer, personally.
He's on 30 grand a week, I heard, which is still 30 grand a week, and I'd love to be on 30 grand a week.
Yeah, I would also love to be on 30 grand a week.
In the scheme of things for a professional footballer of that level...
Yeah.
I hate to use this word for 30 grand a week, but it's a pittance compared with, you think about Ozil, £350,000 a week to do nothing. And this guy's putting every effort in, and he's a great player. So something's got to give big time in this summer. And I think if he doesn't sign, the last thing we want is for him to be going into the next season with all the rumour mill going around. And the worst case scenario is you get to next summer, he's got 1 year left. And at the moment, if you come in with a bid, I mean, Grealish went for 100 million. Yeah. So you'd think that Saka would be worth something similar.
Well, you'd think Arsenal would be charging a lot of money. And actually, whatever happens, I think they'll want some sort of clarity now on what he's thinking around his contract, for sure. And it's not just him. It's Martinelli and Smith Rowe as well. Sorry, not Smith Rowe, Martinelli and Saliba. They're all going to have 2 years left now. And Arsenal will have to... Yeah, we'll have to convince him there's a project, and there'll be pay rises. And we saw Nketiah's contract the other day. He's being paid well, and good for him.
100 grand, isn't it?
Yeah, and good for him. Absolutely good for him. But that's the standard now. That's the standard set for these other players. So yeah, Arsenal will be having a lot of business to do, even come the close of the transfer window, trying to keep these really good, promising young players. Let's talk about the trailer that dropped today.
The 26 seconds that we saw.
For the Amazon documentary. Just very quickly, how did you feel about this documentary when you heard it was happening, and how do you feel about it now?
Well, I've watched two of them. I watched the Sunderland one, which I really enjoyed. That
one's on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that one. I mean, again, I had a personal contact at Sunderland. I was doing business there, so some of the people that I was doing business with were on that documentary, so I had a vested interest to watch it. But I actually thought that one was very true to life. Whereas the other one I watched, the Tottenham one, I thought was very canned.
Okay.
It looked staged. I mean, Daniel Levy was in and out of it, and everyone was friendly with him, and he was sitting down and being very hospitable to all the players. And I just get the impression that's not what it's like at Spurs. And that if it shows what's really going on, that's what we want to see.
Yeah,
but is it just going to be edited? Because I'm pretty certain that the big Premiership clubs wouldn't really want us to know what's going on behind the scenes. So until I see it, I'm always going to watch it, and I'm going to enjoy it because it's Arsenal. And whatever's on, doesn't matter. It could be a book, it could be a film, it could be a TV programme or whatever. It's got the word Arsenal in it. I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm going to watch it. Yes, I'm excited about it. The trailer whetted my appetite and annoyed me in some respects. I mean, it was only a few seconds, but straight away they were obviously filming the first few games of the season, and you had a fan coming on and saying, "Oh, Arteta out, you've got to get rid of him," which after a few games I totally disagree with. It's his opinion, and one thing I'm always open to is I like the public forums of people being able to express their own opinions.
Yeah.
However, it's the way that'll be edited, and what they're doing, they're sensationalising it. Of he's got to go.
But they're gonna want to add. I mean, it's okay. There's two things. Firstly, they're going to want to make it dramatic,
of course, because they want the subscription.
Absolutely, and they're going to want eyes on it. But secondly, it was quite a dramatic year, from the way it started to the Aubameyang stuff to at one point looking like we weren't going to get top four. Then we're favourites. Then you got this crucial clash, against your North London rivals. Then it all goes pear-shaped. I mean, they've got themselves a great year of content, and that's ultimately what people are going to want to watch. They're going to watch the dramatic bits. Now, where it gets interesting is what you mentioned about kind of what the Premier League clubs will allow us to see, and what Arsenal would actually want being included, but they can't. It's not fiction. They can't pretend Arsenal got top four and end it nicely. It ended badly, and they have to cover that. So how they cover that is going to be really interesting. Okay, here's my prediction. I think a lot of it, it'll start badly, with the whole 3 defeats, blah, blah. Then I think a lot of it will largely be happy content. Arsenal on the up, tight group of players, they're buying into Arteta, Arsenal in a top 4 race they didn't expect to be into, blah, 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 blah. The Aubameyang stuff will kind of be chucked in there. And then I think they'll end it with the Arsenal missed out to Spurs, but we got big plans, we got players coming in, and everything's looking positive. I think that's the spin that they'll put on it, personally.
Yeah, but I can only go on the trailer that's come out, and the trailer that was come out was all doom and gloom.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, of course they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that trailer because it was all depressing and upsetting.
There was one clip of Arteta saying when they attack you, it makes you stronger or something, or when they criticise you, it makes you stronger, whatever. Let me see if I've got the actual picture. Anyway, and there was a picture of wolves behind him in like a forest, and then Arsenal flags being, kind of like the ones you wave. What do you think that was referring to? Because there's one of two things. A, the way Wolves criticised us for celebrating, or B, because of the Wolves and everything, or B, it was a metaphor for the fans and the criticism that comes with being a manager or a player or something. Do you have any kind of early predictions of what that was about?
No, I didn't even notice that part.
You didn't even notice it?
You've obviously looked far deeper than I have.
I saw it getting talked about.
There was 2 or 3 things I noticed. The fan that came on that said sack him.
Okay.
The rousing speech by Arteta, which I liked. In fact, there was one part which I liked. Ramsdale came into the changing room and threw his boots or his gloves down. He was showing frustration, but it showed that he cared. Yeah. And I like that. I really like that. And we know that that's his character. So that part I liked. And the final part I also really liked was a crunching Ben White tackle.
Yeah,
he went really hard into him. Yeah. So, they're making it sensational. I just didn't like that bit where the fan comes on and says, sack him.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's his opinion.
That is his opinion. Listen, a lot of people are saying it. I might well have myself. Christopher says in a super chat, Denver Nuggets have a better chance of winning the championship for Arsenal unless we're talking about the Europa League. Okay, so he's not happy with how things are going at Arsenal. JAE says Jesus and Saka are both better than Raphinha. All entitled to your opinion, fair enough. All very good players as well. Nijin says that Raphinha to Chelsea, Martinez and Tielemans to Man United. That would be awfully depressing if we lost all three of those targets to Chelsea and Man United. Info at Osterley Park Hotels. Thank you for the super chat. Says, oh, sorry, he's not being very nice about you. He says, sorry.
Julian is just deluded and thinks he's in Vuvu land.
Well, thank you very much.
I don't know where Vuvu land is.
Neither do I.
It sounds like a wonderful place.
This is hilarious. Someone says James Lee intensely sucking in air is driving me mad. I'm so sorry. I have hay fever, guys. I'm going to try and move away from the mic. I'm ill, but I'm here. I'm still turning up. Yeah, the documentary. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. All or Nothing. We've seen the Spurs one. We've seen the City one. Did you ever see the Man City one?
No, I didn't see the City one.
That was a good one.
Everything about City bores me.
Fair enough.
Apart from Jesus.
Well, yes, fair enough.
He's now the greatest striker ever in City's history.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. What his goal to game is a goal to game ratio in the Premier League. I think it's up there with some of the best. Look, the documentary. I'm scared. Everyone else is saying. I saw a lot of people on social media saying, "Can't wait to see it. This is gonna be really exciting," or "Really intrigued," whatever. I don't feel that way about it, if I'm honest. I'm going to watch it, and then I'm going to enjoy it. I think it's going to be interesting. But I don't feel this sense of, I can't wait to see it. I kind of, the way my brain works is, all right, we fell short of our targets last year. We didn't get what we wanted to. We lost out to Spurs. Just bury that onto the next. That's how my brain works. So I'm just thinking about signings, getting them in, getting ready for pre-season. And, 2 days before the new season actually starts, this documentary is going to drop with these episodes coming out that I just think I'm past that now. Let's focus on what's new. By that point, we'll have most of our signings in. We'll be 1 day away, I think, from playing Crystal Palace. And I just won't be in that frame of mind personally. Is that just me or?
Well, it's not me, so I can't say that it's just you, but it could be just me. But I feel that it's a documentary about our lives because for the last 12 months, that was probably the most important part of my life, and it will be for the next 12 months. So what I'm doing is I'm looking back in the same way as that. I don't know if you do this, but when you go to a game and when you watch it on a watch along, do you then go back and watch it again on Match of the Day?
Yeah.
So that's all we're doing. We're going through the summary, the highlights and the lowlights of last season in a documentary that, was it a 9-part documentary?
Something like that. I think 8 or 9. Yeah,
8 or 9. So I'm going to be spending 9 hours of my life watching what I've already watched and enjoying it and reliving it, and I'll do it again. I'll probably watch it a few times over the next few years.
Miles asks, is the Arsenal documentary a sequel to the Man City one? Seeing Arteta managing a team from being a coach in the previous documentary. I mean, you can look at it that way, but no.
We're definitely not a sequel to Man City.
And also, there's just been far too many years in between. So yeah, guys, let us know how you're feeling about this Amazon documentary. I'm indifferent to it. I'm not excited about it. I'm not annoyed it's coming out. I'm not anything. I'm intrigued by it, but I'm not like. I just want to focus on the new season now. I'm excited about the players that we've signed. I'm excited about the players we're linked with. I'm excited about the potential squad we're building. And I'm excited about that first game against Crystal Palace. And if we can, I know it's very reminiscent to Brentford and the way that started just terribly for us, last season. But Friday night, London derby, if we can go and win that, shake off what happened last year, almost 12 months on, say, look how far we've come, and make a statement with these new signings. That's just where my focus is.
It won't be how far we've come because we should have beaten Brentford, and we should still beat Crystal Palace. We had an off half at Palace last season. This season we'll go there, and there is a real positive spin to this because if we win there, we'll be top of the league.
Yay.
Yeah.
If we draw, I think we'll be top of the league.
Yeah, we will. Alphabetical.
Yeah. So there we go.
So long as we don't lose, we will be top of the league. It's a fact. It's not deluded. No voo-voo land there.
Yeah, listen, you make it very hard to disagree.
Well, you can't disagree because it's a fact.
Anthony says the next documentary will be on Man United, Ronaldo going after Maguire. I would love see, now that would have been exciting. I'd have loved to have seen, but in the same way other fans will be excited to watch this one about Arsenal. I'd be fascinated to have watched the Man United one from last season.
But the difference with Man United were they were totally awful last season. We had a few off games, but we were massively improved. We were how many points ahead of 6th place?
11.
Something like 11 points ahead of 6th place. We, by terrible refereeing, we would have got 4th place. We were there and thereabouts. It was very, very small margins. So I would still say it was a good season. The documentary would be covering a very positive time in Arsenal's history.
I respect your opinion massively.
Thank you.
I don't agree that.
There's always going to be a but coming.
I don't agree that refereeing is the reason why we didn't get top 4. But again, I respect your opinion.
There was Son's dive as well.
Okay.
And the other guy who dived for the. Was it Son diving for the penalty as well?
It's all coming.
Yeah.
He was fouled for the penalty. Yeah.
Okay. It looked like Cecil's dive on Sunday.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Okay, see, this is what's happened. We haven't had you here for like a good month or so. So now it's all coming out now. Now it's
pent up.
Yeah, pent up frustration from the end of last season. We're all past it. We're all over it.
We're not past it. How can we be past it? I'm not past what happened in, I think it was 1993, 94, when I think a Blackburn player, it might have been who used to play up front for Blackburn, and he didn't kick the ball out. Sherwood. I think it was Sherwood. Might have been Tim Sherwood.
Okay.
Or Shearer. Could have been Shearer, actually.
Could have been Shearer.
Didn't give the ball back to Arsenal.
Right.
And then they went on and scored from their own throw-in. I don't get over those things. If it's cheating, it's cheating.
Fair
time doesn't heal.
When I say we're past it, I don't mean I mean people are still really pissed off we didn't get top 4. Yeah. But I'm just not trying to focus on it anymore. To focus on going forward.
Let's focus.
But that's this is what I love about the comment section. Lost and Found says, Julian, you're so deluded, and then Andrew says, Julian with the facts. That's back-to-back comments.
Wonderful.
From different people.
Yeah.
So there you go.
The second one, anyway.
Yeah.
Can you delete the other ones?
We could, but again, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah,
so,
it is quite right. We can't limit the press.
No. Chana Boys says, I'm more focused on the new season, but it will be good to see Arteta's management behind the scenes and how we regrouped after 3 defeats to beat Chelsea. Yeah, you are right. And I think ultimately when I'm watching it, I'll be going, oh yeah, I forgot that happened. I forgot this was a good moment. Actually, this is good to see. I think I'm just looking at purely the overall series. Do I think I'm going to take much enjoyment out of it? Not really. I'm going to take more enjoyment out of new signings, getting ready for the new season, seeing us on tour, hopefully looking good, doing well in the pre-season games in Nuremberg, the Emirates Cup, all that, and going to the new season, hopefully looking at us and going, that's a side that looks ready to go and actually be competitive in the league this season.
Yeah, I've just remembered it was Chris Sutton that
was it Chris Sutton?
Yeah, that refused to give the ball back, and they went and scored, and we missed out on Europa. The equivalent of Europa League back then. Okay. And I think Blackburn, did they go on to win the league? No, I don't think they won the league that season, but they cheated their way to victory at Highbury.
Fair enough. Good memory. Julian, we're going to round up in a sec, but just quickly, give us your thoughts on. We talked on Jesus, we talked about Raphinha, we have been linked with Lisandro Martinez, we've been linked with Yuri Tielemans. Not expecting you to be, expert on any of these players. I know you'll have watched
expert on all of them, obviously.
Well, yeah, of course, but it's interesting that we're willing to fork out 45 million on Jesus. It's going to be up to 60 million on Raphinha. There's 30 million on Vieira, and it could be another 60 to 70 million on Tielemans and Lisandro Martinez, who we're linked with as well. Arsenal are acting in ways we've not really seen from them over the last. Listen, we've spent money, but to be this proactive and spend this much on these many kind of established names, that's unlike Arsenal.
It is unlike Arsenal. It could be a whole sort of 2-3 hour debate on the reasons for that.
Yeah.
For me, things have changed in 2018 when the Cronkies got full control of Arsenal. And since then, yes, there's been some very poor decisions.
Yeah.
But the last few seasons, I think pretty much every decision has been nailed on. Even the Tavares one. I mean, yes, he doesn't look like he's going to stick around next season. Defensively, he's poor, which is pretty integral for a defender. But going forward, he looks really promising. Even if he's not going to succeed at Arsenal, we spent 7 million on him. I would say, is he worth 7 million still? I think he's worth more than 7 million, even how badly he played at times. So I don't think they've made too many mistakes. And at the moment, the Cronkies seem to be backing Arteta. And the facts would dictate that you can't knock them at the moment for not putting the money up, because they are. And they've done it with Jesus, with the other signings that have come in last season, 150 million, and they haven't got much back from the players that they've sold.
So I'm just catching up on what's been going on online. He would want Raphinha and stuff. So this is from Matt Law, who covers Chelsea very well, says it seems Raphinha is the most likely to be joining Chelsea along with Sterling. So it could be both of them. It's adding some real depth on the wing. Wow.
He's rubbish, Raphinha, isn't he?
Never wanted him anyway.
Never wanted him.
It's a shame because I really did want him, actually. Got a couple more super chats to come in. Sebastian has been asking actually about Lisandro Martinez update. Only that a bid went in. We don't really know much more about it. Prince with a super chat says we need Martinez's signature ASAP. Yeah, he would be a really good addition. And Miles says it seems Arteta flew out to the US to meet up with the Cronkies. Oh, okay. No, sorry. Let me read that again. It seems since Arteta flew out to the US to meet with the Cronkies, our activity has picked up. Yeah, but did he? He flew out back in January. Has he been since?
I don't know.
Maybe. I can't remember if there was something I missed. Another super chat's coming from Carlson says, I want to see Arteta transfer list holding for the red card against Spurs. Yeah, I don't think he's going to base it on one game, but I would imagine if the right money came in for holding, he might be off. Though we haven't heard anything. Julian, thanks for coming back. It's been a pleasure. Any final words? Any other thoughts as we go into the crunch part of the transfer window? And we've got, I say crunch part, it's a crucial part with obviously players coming back for pre-season. I think they were back in training yesterday. And we'll be seeing Arsenal in their new kits playing some football again soon.
Yeah, I think my feelings haven't changed, is that the transfer window still goes on to September the 1st. So I wouldn't get too despondent if Arsenal don't sign the players we're linked to at the moment straight away. We may well get them at a better price towards the end of the transfer window. So I, for one, am not getting hysterical just yet.
Fair enough. We'll wait and see what happens. This Chelsea Raphinha stuff is definitely picking up pace, so we'll see what happens there because, yeah, I can't lie. If Chelsea come in and they offer the money they can offer, and obviously they've got what they've got in place with a very good manager and Champions League football, I think it's a slightly concerning one for Arsenal. But we'll see what happens, guys. We'll round it off there. Yeah, not the most news today, but there was something there in that Chelsea Raphinha move. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens. And Robbie will be covering it on Transfer Daily.
Well, let's just hope that he isn't a mercenary and goes to Chelsea, and he has some heart and wants to play for the good guys.
Let's hope. Let's hope he wants to come to the Emirates. Let's see. Big thanks to everyone. Smash a like on this video. Check out all the content coming out. We've got plenty coming this week. We'll see you next time.